Hello and welcome back to the James Kennedy Podcast. How have you been doing? I hope you've been having this lovely sunshine that we've been blessed with in South Wales this past week or so. It's been awesome to get a little bit of sunshine and, re-emerge from my darkened lair and get back out into nature and pound some tarmac miles and burn off some of the COVID calories that I've been piling on this past few years. Man, I let myself go big time, honestly, and I've enjoyed every damn second of it. And if I was a professional, I would use that to segue perfectly into introducing today's guest, but I'm not, so I won't. I'm going to nag you instead before we get started to subscribe to the goddamn podcast and give us some stars, man. Hit that rating button. Let Apple and Spotify and all the others, let them know what's going down over here, man. And if you want to leave a review, I will love you forever. Now, let's get down to it, because today we've got not only the second Welshman to be on the podcast in 2 weeks, but we've got a guy with an insanely interesting story. You are really going to enjoy this one, trust me. This guy's story traverses not only professional athletics, but rock and roll and all the debauchery that comes with it, and then bouncing back and coming out the other side as a running punk. Now I'm going to let him explain what that is, and trust me, it's awesome. This guy is hilarious. He's a lot of fun. He's got a lot of energy. He's got a lot to say. And we're going to get into all of it, man. We're going to get into rock and roll, health and fitness, mental health, sobriety, boozing, all that stuff. So sit tight and strap in, because you're going to enjoy this one as we welcome onto the podcast from Running Punks, Mr. Jimmy Watkins. How are you, sir?
I'm good, yeah. Thank you for having me. I'm, as I was just telling you before you hit record, I haven't had a shower. So I'm feeling like I've been outdoors a lot. I got that kind of like wheelbarrow smell. I smell like a wheelbarrow. That's what's happening right now.
Have you just not had a shower this morning, or have you done a few days now?
Oh no, just this morning.
You're not an absolute animal then, like me.
No, I'm a big shower fan. I'm an avid showerer.
Okay, so this is a big deal for you then, man. Well, we really appreciate you skipping the shower to speak with us today, man.
That's okay. Just send me a bar of soap, yeah, to make up for it.
I can hear the desperation in his voice here about the shower. I'm almost embarrassed to admit this, but I can do a few days without a shower, man. I know that's horrific.
Nah.
I know.
No, I'm like twice a day. It's like my book covers. If a day is a book for me, my showers are the book covers, like on the front and back end of it. That's what I'm like.
This is what I love about you, man. Obviously we're going to get into everything, right? But one thing I want to mention from watching your album reviews on Running Punks is your use of wordplay and your use of language is fucking like brilliant, man. It's like very poetic,
Yeah, it's brilliant for others. It's an absolute nightmare for me. It's like, I'll try and explain something normally, and then before I know it, I'm in a baker's comparing bread. Like, just, you know what I mean? Like, just comparing bread to like ex-girlfriends or shoes I used to wear. It's just like, oh, well,
I love it.
I just want a loaf of bread. What am I doing?
I love it. So, for those people that don't know what the hell we're talking about right now, let's start right at the start and bring everybody up to speed. So, yeah, who are you? What's your story? What's your background? What are you up to today? And what's going on? What's the vibe?
Righty. Okay, so my name is Jimmy Watkins. Real name is James, but I've been a Jimmy since I was a little kid. I used to run. My first thing I did was run. I was like a professional athlete. I ran for Great Britain. I did like the World Championships, got the final of the World Championships over 800 meters. I was a Welsh record holder. Seemed to have this exciting future in athletics. There was a lot of things written about me. There's like a big article in the Independent kind of bigging me up as like the savior of middle distance running in Great Britain. And then 2 years after the World Champs, I quit to start a rock band. So I spent a couple of years playing in bands, got a chance to like tour quite a bit, make a couple of good albums, like win the Welsh Music Prize and stuff like that. But I kind of overdid it with the drinking and stopped looking after myself. I found myself in a pretty bad place physically and mentally. And then out of the blue, kind of in 2019, I started running again. And immediately everything started improving. So me and my friend Rodri, we set up a thing called Running Punks to kind of encourage people initially, like people in bands, to like look after themselves. And just to show the benefits of having like a little bit of exercise. It doesn't have to be crazy. You don't have to run a marathon between sound check and gig. Just do a little bit of exercise. And running punks has just really taken off. So that's me now. Like I'm running more, probably running as much as I did as a professional athlete, probably.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, and listening to a lot of music and, like you said, doing the running reviews.
So the running reviews you do on YouTube, you're basically doing your daily run whilst listening to the album and screaming the review out at the camera whilst you're doing it. It's fucking hilarious to watch it, man.
That is it. That's it. It's like, I don't know. I chuck an album on, listen to it, and I just shout really loud, running on Athlete, what the album's doing to me. And then I edit it, think, there's no way I can put this online. This is ridiculous. And then I put it online, and it gets people running. It gets people running and listening to music. So it's good.
And like I say, man, that the way you describe the music and stuff, and you're doing this completely off the cuff as well. I mean, I couldn't write that stuff if I sat down and thought about it for days, you know, with a thesaurus, you know. But you're just like, you're talking about, like, you're describing things as being like a glazed topping on a fucking. I can't even do an impression of it. It's so like very surreal and very descriptive wordplay. I love it, man.
I appreciate that, because it's kind of like how I've always like processed music in my head. Do you know what I mean? I've listened to music, and that's how I've always kind of processed like what it sounds like, what it does to me. So it's like, it's really weird to have lived with a way of describing something in your head for so long and suddenly make it public knowledge. You know? Suddenly let other people into your head, but people reacting to it in a good way. So it's kind of like, not that I was worried anyway, but you definitely think, you know, I'd read music reviews or watch people talk about music, and I'd be impressed, but I'd also be thinking, I have no idea what this person's talking about.
Right.
Like this is not how I'm processing listening to that album. So it's kind of good to be able to put my own spin on it, and people think, yeah, you know, that's funny, and it's made me go for a run and listen to it. So it's kind of good.
Well, it's made me want to check out albums, man. I listen to it, I think, this sounds fucking bonkers. I got to check this out.
That's wicked. That's great.
So it's wicked that you're combining the two. So coming back to the running thing then, because obviously that's where your story began, and that's kind of, you know, the main thing that you're doing now. So it was interesting that you said that was kind of, it helped you through the mental health and the alcohol like overuse that came with the band lifestyle, because I've had a very similar journey. I released a memoir in 2020 called Noise Damage, which is all about my time in Kaishira and then coming out the other side of my mental health sort of like meltdown and everything towards the end of that chapter. And I was actually sober for 3.5 years. Very recently got back on the whiskey, I'm ashamed to say, but loving it, you know.
I saw that. I saw you did a podcast about it, didn't you? One of your episodes is about drinking again.
Yes.
That's interesting how, you know, some people go sober and then they decide to drink again. I like, because I think it's important, like, you don't have to be so like harsh on yourself. Do you know what I mean? Like, some people not drinking forever is like a bad decision in a way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for me, I'm weak. It's the famous Oscar Wilde quote. You know, I can resist anything but temptation. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it is. If I like it, I want to do it a lot. You know, whether that's eating or drinking or, you know, smoking or even exercise. Because when I got into exercise, very similar to yourself, you know, it kind of helped with a lot of the mental health stuff. And I never really had a history of exercise or eating well. And before I knew it, I was jogging several miles every day before breakfast. I was obsessed with health and fitness and nutrition, and I had a 6-pack, and I was in great shape. So I get very obsessed about things, whether it's, you know, bad things or healthy things, which I don't know necessarily whether that in itself is healthy to be that obsessed about stuff. So coming back to what you were saying, I'm trying to find that kind of that middle ground now, whereby I like a drink, but I only really do it, you know, on the weekends or socially, rather than, you know, every single night and getting hammered, you know?
Yeah, right. That's amazing. That's like a good place to be in, definitely.
But are you still sober now?
I'm still sober, yeah, and I think I'm one of those people who's in it, like just in it for the long run now, because, like you were saying, like is an obsession healthy? And I'm like, even like if your obsession is something really good, it's still going to be unhealthy because it's an obsession. Like,
yes.
If you're obsessed with celery sticks, it's probably going to kill you. I don't know. So I need to be in control of my obsessions. That's like my thing. Like,
right.
If a big thing I've learned since going sober is like setting myself boundaries. And when I'm drunk, those boundaries just go, and I know that I would lose control of everything I've tried to so hard to like manage. So like every obsession would just come out. So if I got drunk, I'd be down Forbidden Planet spending like £200 on comics.
Got you.
Or,
Yeah.
like everything would just, I just know everything would just come out, and I just feel like in a better place as a sober person. So yeah, I'm here to stay. But I definitely think for some people it's like, if you can have like a nice whiskey and control yourself, then that's cool. And I kind of wish I was like that, but I just know like it's just once I start allowing those things to creep back in, I'll just be going for it, and I'll be down the pub for breakfast and everything.
Yeah, I know. Well, the word you said there was really important. I think is boundaries. I mean, I set boundaries for myself now because, like, in the band lifestyle, there aren't any boundaries, and it's perfectly acceptable and almost expected for you to be like hammered every night and being self-destructive and wild. That's reckless behavior is kind of like it's the norm, isn't it? You're almost weird if you're not like that. So being in that world is very difficult to have those boundaries. But now, I try to. I mean, these things are the fruits of life, aren't they? Good food, nice drink, whatever it is. There are it's like we got to live as well, right? So I'm trying to I think what you said there with boundaries is very important. So I've set boundaries for myself, like no daytime drinking, no drinking, during the week, things like that, and that seems to be working so far.
No drinking in a pub with a carpet. That's if I start drinking again, that'll be my one rule. If there's a carpet in a pub, I'm not drinking. Like carpets in pubs seem to attract like Brexit voters.
Yes.
That's what we should have done. Before Brexit, we should have laminated every pub in the country, right? Laminate flooring, and then we would still be in Europe.
And pubs with the word spoon in the name as well, funnily enough.
I know. That's it.
And those propaganda magazines as well, Have you seen those? The Wetherspoons magazine. It's fucking hilarious.
Oh, yeah. Those carpets kind of like collect all the hate. And then it's like dust mites, but a hate. And then people walk around on the carpet and all this hate is released into the air in a Wetherspoons.
It's like a big hate sponge on the floor.
It is.
You're dragging me into your surreal world now, man. I don't know if I like it.
So this what happens.
So how many years have you been sober then?
2 and nearly 2.5 now.
Awesome. I'd like to know what is your experience of that thing, because like whether it's similar to mine. What are the things that have stood out to you the most about being completely teetotal?
Cool. I like questions like that because it's nice to talk about it, because one of the biggest things, right? I should say, like my last night out wasn't a particularly heavy one, which makes it even stranger that I decided to quit. My last night out was like quite a controlled one for me. And I just woke up the next day and I was working in this factory that made windows, right? And I got shouted at for something that wasn't my fault by the owner. And I started crying, and I was like, what is wrong with me? Why am I crying? Like, this guy's shouted at me loads. Usually I just take it. But it was because I was like a little bit hungover, and I wasn't quite in control of like processing my feelings. And like, I just got really upset and emotional. And then I was like, that's it. I'm only crying in front of all these people in a factory because I got a hangover. I'm going to stop drinking.
Right.
And when I stopped drinking, like quite soon, I realized that I was a really sensitive person. And I realized I was probably afraid of that. And I was using alcohol to kind of block these feelings. So I remember quite early on, maybe like 2 months into not drinking, I was out running and there was a bit of a sunset, and I was like, oh my God, look at that. That's amazing. Do you know what I mean? I became like this different person. I was like appreciating the sunset, and I was like listening to the waves. I was like, oh my God, the waves sound amazing. And I realized that side of me had probably been there for a long time. And I was kind of afraid, because when you become really sensitive, it can be quite scary, quite overpowering sometimes. And I realized like I've been drinking to kind of hide that. And then I was realizing that even though I'm really like, I'm a bit off the wall, I'm outgoing, I'm actually like really shy in social situations. I'm really awkward around people. So all these things were like popping up, which I never knew about myself, and I was realizing, I thought I always drank because I wanted a good time. But I was kind of, over time, it was becoming clear that I was drinking because I wasn't comfortable in pubs with people. I was drinking because maybe like my brain wanted to think about things which it wasn't comfortable thinking about. I just wanted to like just be like a man. Do you know what I mean? I just wanted to keep my thoughts simple and just be like a man and do what I got to do every day and just go out with my mates. And it's been a game changer. Like, it's been an absolute game changer. Like, I see the world differently and I understand myself better. So yeah, I didn't expect that. I just thought I'd lose my beer belly.
That's super interesting, man. Everyone's experience is different, but there's so many commonalities as well. I mean, for me, I noticed that my days were twice as long. I was getting more shit done because I was just up early, feeling fresh. I wasn't like lethargic and still getting my shit together by midday. Just like mental clarity was better. My emotions were more stable. I didn't have these crashing depressions and stuff like that, you know? Like I honestly, like I really enjoyed my time being sober. Like I said, I maintained most of that stuff now. I'm trying to like have a little bit of pleasurable drinking back in my life without all of the other shit that came with excessive drinking. But as a general, when I look back on my 3.5 years sober, like all the memories are pleasant, to be honest. You know, it's like I would really recommend it. I mean, the thing is, like, there was a lot of cultural resistance with me. I don't know if you've noticed that as well. Like, people think, you know, you're weird, especially around here, you know, with the drinking culture being what it is. There's a little bit of social pressure there, like stigma attached to being completely teetotal. But I got to be honest, man, I would recommend everybody to do a stint sober, because exactly like you say, you know, you learn more about yourself and your motivations for doing it. And I got to be honest, you know, a lot of people probably wouldn't go back, I think, if they stopped.
Yeah, it's kind of like, you know, like the cultural pressure to drink. I had a penny drop moment with that with my friends, because I was like, you know, when they take the piss out of you for being sober, it's because they like to feel they go one up on you. Right. You don't drink. Just flip it around. And I used to just say to them, I fucking completed it.
Completed the level, like.
I've done it. So I'm like, how have you not completed it yet? You're still doing it.
You need to up your game, boys. Come on, you're flagging, like.
Yeah, because it always is. It's always like a one up. I got one up on you. I can drink 10 pints.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can drink 10 pints and install fucking curtains from my bay window. You're a wimp. And I just like, look, I've completed it. Like, I've done it all. You still catching up. And then people just left me alone. People stopped asking me. But I think alcohol-free beers is a massive one as well, because you can stand in a pub now with a beer in your hand, you know. And that's like a massive one. It's like the invisibility cloak from Harry Potter. It's like
Totally. It's so strange how that makes it so much more socially acceptable rather than holding, you know, a fucking like squash or something, you know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, I drank loads of those alcohol-free beers, man, because they're so much better now than they used to be. And you actually feel like you're having a beer, you feel like you're kind of socializing and doing, you know, what's socially expected of you. But and then you wake up fucking no hangover, baby, you know, and you're kicking ass the next day whilst everyone else is getting this shit together, you know?
No hangover, but you pissed the bed because you're really hydrated.
Yeah. You know, you win some, you lose some, man. You know, you got to take the rough with the smooth, you know?
Exactly.
Oh, that's amazing, man. So what about, I'd like to talk to you then about like mental health. What was your mental situation like when you were fully immersed in the rock and roll lifestyle, making the transition then into like running again and health and fitness? What did you notice about the state of your mental health?
That it was controlled by the ego. Wow. It was massively controlled by what I wanted people to think I was, rather than just being who I was. So it was weird. There was kind of, it took a panic attack for me to realize that something was wrong with my mental health. And then I had that, and I initially saw the panic attack as a sign of just being physically unhealthy, because when I had it, I was like struggling to breathe. You know, I felt weird on my feet. So I thought, physically, and it made sense because I put a lot of weight on and I did look a bit rough. But as I started running, I was kind of like, all those things were, well, not all of them, a lot of it was mental. So that panic attack was like a mental thing. And I was like living with a lot of anxiety. Because I think looking back on it, I knew deep down I wasn't doing what I wanted to do with my life. So just like all this anxiety was built up. I kind of hadn't, the change from being an athlete to being in a band was so quick that I hadn't kind of made peace with the fact that it wasn't a bad decision to quit running so young. A lot of people were telling me it was, and I grew up to believe that was a mistake. And, like, I was only 24, you could have run in the Olympics. So I was kind of like, the same as realizing I was sensitive, I kind of drank to stop that feeling that, I fucked up. And so, yeah, a lot of it was like, let's just create this rock and roll ego. And it's weird. Like my regrets at the time then when I was drinking and I was in a band was that I quit running. But like the regrets I have now was that I didn't enjoy my time in a band more. I could have done it in a much healthier way.
Same.
Like we toured America and I can't remember it. And the singer in the band I was in, like we had a big falling out after I left the band, but we should have just stayed mates. Little things like that. And it's just kind of like, I let my ego get in the way so much. And I just wanted people to be like, even though I was like the rhythm guitarist, I wanted people to think he's the fucking front man. Look, I've never seen anybody play rhythm guitar like that guy. Wow. What's he doing? Do you know what I mean? And it just, it's bad. And it was nice to like, just get rid of that. And kind of, I'm in a position now where I just do things because like for the first time in my life, I kind of got like values.
Right.
It took getting sober to realize what's important to me, what makes my life good, what makes me happy. So by doing that, I've got values, and that's how I kind of live my life now. And I'm in a better place. And I just wish, I wish I'd done that when I was in a band.
Yeah.
I wish I'd realized, it was all about writing good music. It was all about, maybe I should try out different guitars and experiment. You know what I mean? Spend my money on guitars and stuff. Yeah. But yeah, it's a weird one. That's life. Like, and then,
I totally echo that, man. It's like you kind of got to go there in order to come back, like, haven't you? You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. It's mad. And then I think when you're kind of living your life properly, how it is for you, I think you're always going to regret something. There's always going to be things you regret, but it's interesting how the thing that you regret changes. Like when you just know what's important to you, but you make peace with something else, which was maybe causing you to act like a dickhead all along. So, I made peace with the fact that I quit running. I was like, no, it's fine. It's like, I've come to realize now that was like a good thing to do. That was the right decision for me to do. I wasn't the type of person to go into years and years of professional sport. It's not for me. So I done the right thing there. But now I'm like, I just wish I'd enjoyed the time in a band more. And it's like, you're constantly finding this balance so you can just live happily, I think.
Yeah, no, I totally echo that, man. I mean, like on our last tour with Kaishira, we were like in Europe during a heat wave. We were playing like big stages on beaches in, fucking coast of Italy, and having a great fucking time. Playing south of France and Barcelona and all these cool places in the sunshine. And it was the most fucking unhappy I've ever been in my life. And
I know,
just depressed and pissed off and snapping with people, and it's really kind of like pretentious, really, when I look back. I think, dude, you could have just enjoyed the ride and played some rock and roll shows, and just fucking enjoyed yourself.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm thinking. It's like, this would have been a good story to tell people, but now I can't remember it. Like, what? Oh, it's funny. It's funny. We learn. Hopefully, like the next generation will make better mistakes.
Well, I suppose that's the key in it. Like, as long as you learn from it and stop making the same mistake over and over again, then it wasn't a wasted experience. I mean, it was a growth experience that has clearly given you the life that you've got now, which is much better.
Yeah, definitely. Like it was, I don't know. It would have been easy to just stay that person,
right?
I could have done it well into my 60s. And then when I was 60, like, oh my God, what am I doing? And then become like a sober 60-year-old. So I'm glad it happened when it did. So,
or you'd be that bitter 60-year-old guy sat in a pub that's got carpet, just kind of like hating the world, like, oh, fucking shit business,
Yes. Voting for like double Brexit, that we should just leave the planet.
Yeah, that spongy floor of carpeted hate just seeping up through the soles of your feet.
It is, man.
Into your soul.
That's what makes the chips taste so good. It's all I hate on them.
Oh, God. So, what's the crack these days then? So, you're doing a thing called Running Punks. Tell us what all that is about.
So, Running Punks started with me and my friend Rodri. We were in a band together in school, and we kind of just didn't keep in touch. You know, we were in a band, but we weren't like really close mates. We just didn't keep it. We were friends on social media, which sounds weird being nearly 40 and saying that. We were friends on Facebook, and friends in real life before that in a band. And we did a race. So the year I started running again, I did a half marathon in Llanelli, and we saw each other. I'm like, holy shit, like, we didn't realize you were running. And he was like, I didn't realize you were running again. So we just started chatting online, and we both had really similar stories that we'd been in bands. We got super unhealthy, and running came along at the right time, kind of helped us sort our shit out. And we were like, well, it was his idea. He was kind of like, there must be more people like that. So we came up with this idea of Running Punks. And I think originally we thought it was just gonna be me and him, like the big hairy bikers for running. Like we'd wear this Running Punks kit, and we'd be like, yeah, we're the Running Punks, way, and smash it up or whatever. And yeah, we were like, we put a website up, we put some we did like a Twitter thing and stuff, and we noticed a few people were into it. Oh yeah, I'm into music and I like running, and then during lockdown, I was kind of saying to Rod, like, I got this idea. I'm gonna run and review music, and I started doing that, putting the videos up, and obviously like the bands were sharing it, Six Music featured it, so it just introduced us to a lot more people, and then just this community grew around it, and where kind of, I don't know, like from my experience, it was people would get in touch with me after I'd run to something like Dillinger Escape Plan album or something, or like some death metal. I'd run to a death metal album, and then someone who's always wanted to run is on the internet, and they see someone who looks sporty run into one of their favorite death metal bands, and for them it's like the first time they got something in common with someone who looks like a jock or something. If it was like an American movie, do you know what I mean?
Got you, yeah.
All of a sudden they're like, I've always wanted to run, and there's this guy who's listening to death metal or experimental rock or whatever. So they reach out, they give you a shout, and they say, "Oh look, I love that album. I like what you said about it. By the way, I want to get into running." And it's like the first step for a lot of people to take that first step with running. So it just grew, and it just grew so quickly, and lots of people going to running for the first time because of it. So that's where it is at the moment. It's a worldwide community of people who kind of wouldn't go to the gym, wouldn't join a proper running club, but run because they know it's good for them, it makes them happy, and they know it's a chance for them to like listen to music. Like for me, it's like I can go for a run, and sometimes it's like the only time of that day that I can have an hour to myself and listen to music. Yeah. So I think lots of running punks are the same. We're all kind of like busy people, and yeah, it's a chance to exercise and discover some new sounds.
That's amazing, man. And it's a real sense of community, I can imagine, as well, because, like for many people, they may have associated health and fitness with a certain type of lifestyle or a certain type of person that they may not have felt like they would fit in with, but you guys are attracting everybody, and you're screaming your heads off about, death metal and, whatever you're listening to. Yeah. So I can see how that would really appeal to a sense of belonging to a real community.
Exactly. Like I've seen photos online of people running punks who didn't know each other before, going to each other's weddings.
Oh, wow.
Meeting up for food, going out for drinks, going to gigs together. And I think like one of the really cool things about it is that bands are interacting with the videos.
Right.
And it's encouraging a lot of bands to not come out, but just say that they're into running as well, and keeping fit and healthy is important for them. And for a lot of people, that's the first time they've seen that. So their favorite band is talking about running. So something like, I don't know, like Bob Vylan at the moment, for example, at the moment, did a Bob Vylan video. They're aware of Running Punks, and then they played at Focus Wales up in Wrexham, and they gave a shout out to Running Punks and talked about the importance of staying healthy and exercising. And for a lot of people, they're like seeing their favorite bands talking about running.
Yeah.
And it's like, you don't have to feel like, because I'm a runner, I'm not cool. I'm not cool enough to talk to these musicians or whatever. It's like, nah, everyone realizes the importance of looking after themselves, and that's what you've got in common with all these people you admire and all these people who inspire you.
That is becoming the new cool now, I think. I think the old classic cliche of the rock and roll self-destruction and all that stuff, I feel like more and more people are realizing now that that's fucking mental, and that era has passed,
It's so old fashioned. It's just gone. It makes you cringe when you see bands living up to it at the moment. You're like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It's cringe, isn't it? It's like, nah, that's not how it's done anymore.
And clearly unhappy as well. I think we know too much more now, don't we? We know that, like, you know, back in the days when you only had the print media and it was like, oh, wow, you know, like Metallica are living the dream. But then now, like, with the internet, we kind of know the personal backstories and you think, oh, fucking hell, these guys are, like, quite sad. Not necessarily Metallica, but, you know, these guys are quite sad, really. You know, they've got no life, you know, they're doing this shit because they're depressed and they're sad and they've got no fixed abode and they're skint, you know?
Yeah, totally. It's, it's kind of like, I don't know. You can just see the finer details of everything now, and you can realize all is not what it seems.
Totally. And what are the benefits of running then, would you say? I mean, for you personally, but as well as like all the people that are part of this like awesome growing community. What do you find are the commonalities that most people talk about with regards to the benefits that they find that running brings to their life?
Cool. I think everybody wants to be the best version of themselves. I think that's normal. I think that's, you know, I think we all do deep down. Some people might not be aware of it, but we all strive to be as good as we can. And I think running kind of makes you realize that to be good, you don't have to act like you're good. You just have to kind of like unlock that goodness in you. And we've all got it. And a lot of that goodness was kind of at its peak when you were in your early 20s, kind of before you grew up and got all this baggage. And running, it's literally like a time machine. You can run and feel like a teenager again. And I think just the act of going out around the woods, going around fields, jogging, makes you feel young. And when you're feeling younger, you're in touch with that goodness that's inside you, because you like sometimes a little smell, someone cutting their grass will take you back to your summer holidays in school, and all these things will happen. And you'll be like, I remember that from when I was a kid. And the most important thing to me was like a watermelon, like having a slice of watermelon. You remember all these little good things that made you happy back then. So it's a case of like remembering that to be good, you just have to remember like all that goodness inside you, instead of, oh, I'm good because I went out and I bought this protein shake from this really trendy cafe. It's like, no, you don't have to do any of that. It's all inside you already. You just have to unlock it. So I think that's what running does for a lot of people. It definitely makes people feel younger. Obviously, you got the endorphins and stuff like that. You know, it's just, it makes you feel good, but it makes you realize that improvement is possible. Like for me, it was weird. Like when I started running again, I was so unhealthy. I used to go out late at night in a full-on tracksuit with money in my pocket, because I thought if I can't run, I'll just go to the shop. And it looks like I'm out for it just looks like I'm going for a walk. And then I started. I became fascinated with the number 3, right? Because for me, like a good fast kilometer is anything like if I ran a 350 kilometer or something like that. So I started going out now and again, and then I'd be like, oh, let's try a fast kilometer here. Let's try a kilometer starts with 3. By like kind of focusing on a really simple thing like that, like just anything that begins with 3, I was kind of solving the biggest problems. Right. You know, I was focusing on something small, and little and bigger issues were getting solved. So like things like going to bed too late. That was because I was running so much, I was going to bed early. And that was solved by my thinking about, oh, let's go out and try and run a 3-minute kilometer. Eating too much, drinking. It was all, I fixed on a little problem and it solved the biggest problems, which I thought would never get solved. So running is a really good way to do that.
Yeah, it's so interesting hearing different people's takes on it, because for me, I found that the mental discipline that came with running affected every aspect of my life, because I had, unlike yourself, who actually had an athletic background, I had no interest in health and fitness until I was like in my early 30s, I think, when I forced myself to do it because my health was just so bad, you know, the same as yourself from being in bands and drinking and all that sort of stuff. And the way I managed to stick with it, because I'd failed so many times at, trying to get a little bit of exercise, going to the gym and then thinking, oh fuck that, never doing that again. So with jogging, I said to myself, right, I'm gonna do as much as I can in the day, and then as soon as my like fucking heart is coming out of my throat, I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna go back, and that'll be it for that day, and I'll just do as much as I can. And then before I knew it, just doing as much as I could that day meant I was doing several miles, you know, and by that point, I was obsessed. And I found that like by giving myself these little milestones, like today I'm just going to go to the bridge, or tomorrow I'm going to go to the bridge, and then I'm going to go to that, the pub further down the street. I'm going to go to that point. And by forcing myself to go to those milestones, it kind of gave me a mental discipline that I was then able to apply to other stuff in life.
Yeah.
Like whenever I felt like giving up on something, I was like, no, just finish this, and then you could do that. It kind of tipped over, I found, into lots of different areas of my life. It gave me a kind of mental strength as well.
Yeah, totally. It's like, it's a funny one, because when I started running again, my big thing was like being able to like suffer and taking pleasure from the fact that I could go through all this stuff. I get careful now, like when I talk about it, because I don't want to encourage people that suffering is good. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Even though it totally worked for me, and it was a bit of like self-punishment for being a dickhead, running at 6 a.m. And I was like, you've done this yourself. You need to do this.
Oh, we sound so similar, man.
Do you know what I mean? And I was like, when I got through all that, I was like, right, that's it. I'm no longer talking about that, because do you know what I mean? I don't want to encourage other people to punish themselves, but you're totally right. It makes you I don't even know if it's like bravery, but it helps you make decisions which on the outside look like bravery, but to you, you're just thinking, what have I got to lose? Like I've been running around Llanelli at 6 a.m. in a jumper from a charity shop. Literally nothing can hurt me.
No, it is that. Yeah, totally that.
I always felt like it makes you look brave, but to you just being reckless, but in a healthy way, because you kind of trust you can do it.
Yeah, and like the discipline as well. Like when you wake up in the morning, because I used to do it before breakfast. And when you wake up in the morning, you really don't want to go out in the cold jogging. You want to stay under the quilt and then nice and warm and have a cup of coffee and lie in, But in forcing myself to do that, it really strengthened that kind of mental muscle that I had to just discipline myself to push through the things that I found were uncomfortable or unpleasant. And that just benefited me in so many other aspects of my life,
Yeah, it's weird. And like similar to that, I realized that the daunting things started way before they became daunting.
Right.
So I explained. So I'd be in bed and I'd be like, oh my God, I could hear the rain, and I'm in bed. I'm like, oh, I got to go outside and run in that. And for me, the daunting thing started when I was outside. So the run starts from outside. But over time, you play these tricks to like fool yourself into it. And I was like, no, technically the run starts as soon as I put my shorts on. So it's not daunting. I'm not scared by going outside in the rain. I'm scared by actually just putting my shorts on in the house.
Right.
That's when the run starts. And then you do these little tricks on you. And then before you know it, you're like, but I can put my shorts on, no problem. And by the time you got your kit on, like going outside isn't scary anymore.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, I know, like I took the jump to be self-employed, and I was always thinking about how am I going to make money? What am I going to do for a living self-employed? And I realized, no, that being self-employed starts by telling where I'm working now that I'm not going back. And I was like, I want to tell them I'm not going back because I hate them. So do you know what I mean? You trick yourself into making all these big decisions by starting them sooner, I guess is what I'm trying to say. You start them sooner, and then it's like that same thing I was saying. It's not bravery. It's just like being reckless, but knowing you can do it. So that's what it taught me big time. It wasn't like the actual thing I was scared about. It was getting started.
That makes so much sense. I love that, man. I can relate to that as well, because I found that like as soon as I got out there and I was running, I was good then. I could just keep going all day. You know what I mean? It was like, but you
always are.
It's the simple act of actually just getting up and doing it is the hardest thing. Once you're out there, it's like, oh, I could turn back now. It's like, nah, I'm gonna do a bit more. Fuck it, I'm gonna go to the edge of I'm gonna go to the woods and back. It's just that initial thing. So that mental trick you play of like, actually, no, I'm just gonna put my shorts and my trainers on, and by the time you've done that, well, you're ready to go then.
Do you know what I mean? It's like you'd be crazier to go back into bed then. Yeah. You'd be crazier to put all your running kit on and then go, I'm going back to bed. At that point, you're like, I may as well go outside. And then when you're outside, like you say, you're loving it. Yeah, this is great.
Yeah.
Oh wow, I didn't know that was my milkman. I never met. Oh yeah, and then you just meeting all these early morning people who are.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, you get the fresh air in your lungs. You're looking at nature. You get to have a bit of clarity, and like I say, it's that 1 hour or half an hour in the day which is your time to be away with your thoughts, to be away from your responsibilities, to be out there in the world, wherever your sort of like your chosen place is, whether it's the woods or around the block or whatever it is. It just gives you that it's that time that's yours, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's so beneficial and such a good way to start your day, I think, as well.
Yeah, it is. And you can like piss anywhere because no one's around.
I do that anyway, man, to be honest.
That's always my favorite thing. I'm like, oh, I'm going to go piss down here today.
And you're always the first person to find the dead bodies as well, you know, when you're jogging.
I know. Hey, that happened to me years ago. I got questioned about, it wasn't, I didn't find a dead body. There was an attempted murder in Cardiff when I was living there. And I was out for a run and the police saw me and I got questioned about it, which is like, so it's true. You are always the first person on the scene of a crime. Yeah.
Jesus, I thought you'd actually seen a dead body then. Jesus Christ, this is taking a turn.
Yeah, that would be a hell of a curveball to throw halfway through a podcast. Yeah. I see him every day. Every day I go running.
Well, you do live in Llanelli, so you know what I mean. You know.
Yeah, even the people who are alive kind of look dead. So.
I didn't say it, man. I'm not saying nothing. Well, the thing is, like, it requires no equipment other than a good, half decent pair of trainers and somewhere to do it. I mean, like, I've done it in the city, I've done it in the countryside, and the result is the same. The effect is the same. So, I mean, it's such a no-brainer. I mean, like, if anyone's listening to this, hopefully they've been inspired to at least give it a go. And I think, like Jimmy's saying, you don't have to become this athlete overnight and commit yourself to doing 10 miles a day. You just go around the block and back and get a taste for it, you know?
And, like, a big thing that I started doing was, because I was so intimidated by distance because I grew up as like a proper athlete, so I knew what distance meant. So I knew like, if I'm gonna do like a 5 mile run, back in the day I used to run 5 miles in this time. So I started just running to time, and I still do that now. I go out of the house and I'll go for an hour, right? I go for 45 minutes, and it's so much easier, right? Because we are like, as humans, everything is a task, whether we're aware of it or not. So if you're going to empty the dishwasher, you're going to do it as quick as you can. Or if you're going to put the shopping back in the fridge, you'll do it as quick as you can. And we like that when we run, we're like, it's 5 kilometers. You will, deep down, your body will be trying to get it done as quickly as possible. Right. And that makes running, like, that can make it quite hard and unpleasant because you're always pushing yourself. But if you just say, I'm going for half hour, there's nothing you can do unless you can run at the speed of light. There's nothing you can do to change half hour. Half hour is half hour. And kind of like your body just accepts that, or your brain accepts it. And you just go, I just got half hour. And you find you run slower, you put less pressure on yourself, and running becomes it does for me. And I know a lot of running punks, it becomes much more enjoyable once you start running to time. So, like, honestly, if you've been putting off that first run because you're seeing everybody doing 5Ks, just do 20 minutes. Yeah. And don't worry about how far you go. Just go out for 20 minutes and enjoy it. And like, running doesn't have to be hard. I very rarely push myself. The most important thing is that it becomes like a habit, part of your lifestyle. Yeah. And you're more likely to do that when you're enjoying it every day. So make sure you enjoy every day, make it become a habit, and you will improve much more than you ever thought you could, really.
And do the running punks have like groups as well? Can people like join like newbies and then and go running in groups, or is that something that's very much organized, in each person's sort of like hometown?
That's fun. Yeah, so we've got like a kind of official run club in Cardiff. We got two in Cardiff, one on a Wednesday night and one on a Sunday morning. So that's like the Cardiff Run Club. But like, people get in touch. They put a shout out on Twitter if they like, I know someone's working away, they say where they are, and someone will pop up saying, I live there, let's go for a run. So that's how a lot of like running punks meet each other. They just say where they are, and another running punk will reach out and they'll start running together. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then every Sunday we do like the virtual run club. So people all around the world just like tag us and they runs, let us know what they listen to.
That's awesome.
It's funny, right? Because it motivates me. Like, some Sundays I'm like, I don't know, I quite fancy having a day off today. And then I see all these running punks running and I'm like, oh my God, yeah, I gotta go running with all these punks. And you forget that it's like a community that you help build because you're just part of it now.
Yeah, that's so awesome, man.
Yeah, it's cool. It's really good. You're part of it. You have to remind people that you are the leader. You have to.
Don't forget, Jimmy is the leader.
I go running in a crown or something.
Yes, you have to give yourself a title, man. You're not just any old running punk. You know what I mean? You're the fucking the grand imperial overlord of the People's Republic of running punks.
Yeah, someone called me a cult leader. That made me shiver. I felt a bit sick.
Nothing wrong with that, man. Nothing wrong with that at all.
But yeah, king of the running punks. Me and Rodri are both the kings of the running punks. But it's like a community which supports us.
So I'm getting worried now. I feel like there's a bit of essential information that you've left out at this point. So are the running punks female only, and they all have to sleep with you? Is that how it works?
Oh no! God, no. No, that'd be far too much admin. I couldn't handle that.
One is enough for anybody, man.
Yeah. No, it's do you know what? I think I was definitely worried at the start when we were going to call it Running Punks. Me and Rodri are both obviously two men. Rodri loves a beard. And I thought it was going to put a lot of female runners off. I thought they'd look at it and they go, oh, there's a bunch of blokes being blokey.
Yeah.
But I'd say it's almost like a 50-50 split between male and female runners. And a lot of the good, in fact, I'd say all the good things that have come from the Running Punks community were started by the female members, suggested by them. So things like the campaign we did for Don't Harass Women, that came from Dr. Ashley Morgan. She's a lecturer in Cardiff Uni.
Right.
And she was posting about, it was around the time of the Sarah Everard murder.
Yes.
Kind of we need to do something. Running Punks needs to do something as a community. So we did a Don't Harass Women t-shirt. And then the sales of that, we donated to charities and stuff. Things like hiding the calories on runs came from a running punk called Rachel,
right,
who was just say, look, just so you know, some people, this is bad for some people, for people to post their runs and say how many calories they burnt. And that's something I'd never thought about, never thought about it. The kind of the run clubs, a lot of them are led by female runners. The suggestion to do the nighttime runs in a group. So honestly, right, almost all the features of Running Punks that I'm most proud of were suggested by our female members, which is amazing, considering it was something that at the start I thought, oh, it's just going to be dudes with tattoos.
Yeah.
It's amazing. You know what I mean? And it's
going to be a dude show.
Yeah, I'm always scared of that. Guys in beards running in. It always gives me the ick.
It's not as bad. I'm not going to say it, man. I was going to say something about guys in spandex running. Is kind of scares me, but I may be talking to one, so I don't. I'm going to shut up.
But I'm just always on. I'll wait. I'll run in there. But I'm always aware of how easy it would be for Running Punks to just look like what it isn't.
Yes.
Or come across something that's totally off-putting to people. And yeah, it honestly wouldn't be what it is without the female Running Punks. They have changed the way that definitely me and Rodri think about the importance of safety when you're running and stuff like that. Right. So yes. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Oh, dude, this is such an awesome thing to have done. And what a thing to see grow and build as well from such a simple idea that you did for yourself to turn into this global community. It must be a real sense of achievement, man. And to know that you're doing so much good for people's health and well-being and sense of community and everything. I mean, do you kind of pinch yourself sometimes that it's gone as the way that it's gone?
So at the moment, there's something happening at the moment. There's a documentary being made about it, and we've been filming a lot. We're filming pretty much all of next week for it as well, and the documentary is possibly going to be something which is quite big. It's certainly looking like it's going that way.
Wow.
So that is something that makes me what is going on here? How has this happened? I did an advert last month for a shoe company for their flagship shoe, which is coming out in October, November. And I did a week of filming to launch this new shoe for a shoe company, which is crazy because as a professional athlete, I think I had a free bottle opener once. and all of a sudden I'm getting all this stuff is happening, and those are things that make me kind of think this is actually mad how this has happened. But in terms of the community and the running punks, I try not to think about it because I don't know. I just try not to think about it. I like to just enjoy it, and like I was saying, like I like to just feel like I'm as part.
Well, you're
of the
still a
community as
member of it.
everybody else.
Yeah, you're still involved.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So when it's like the day-to-day stuff, I'm just always like really happy, and I love getting things like a message from someone in a random part of the world because you've run to a band and they like that. I went for my first run after seeing that. Things like that make me so happy. But yeah, the real things like the filming, the shoe advert, and the stuff that comes with it. That's when I pinch myself, when it's kind of like
amazing.
Yeah, stuff like that is mad.
So amazing. And I'm so glad to see that the thing has become such a success. And I'm so glad that the success has happened for somebody like yourself as well, you know, who totally deserving of it. Such a cool, funny, nice guy who's clearly worked really hard, you know, on yourself and putting this amazing thing together, which is doing so much good for so many people, you know?
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. And yeah, it's kind of like, I don't know. It's just, I think it's just important to be positive, and just, you know, let people know they can do things they didn't think they could do before.
Yeah. So how can people get involved then? So anyone listening to this, I know is going to be chomping at the bit now. But there's been a lot of Welshisms in this conversation as well, so people might have to translate what we're talking about a little bit.
Yeah.
They might be, how do we rephrase that? They might be super excited to get in touch and become a running punk. So how can they do so? How can they find you? Where you at?
So they can send like money in the post directly to me.
To the king
envelopes
of running punks.
Cash. Yeah, envelopes full of cash. I'll take a while to process your application and I'll think about it. No, just find Running Punks on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Just give us a shout, like just let us know where you are, where you're at with your running, and we'll share it and people will just start interacting with you. That is that simple. It's that simple. If you want me to run, if you're a band and you want me to run to your album, send it to me. I'll have I try to do as many as I can every week, but yeah, send your stuff over. Just get in touch. That's all you got to do. And then obviously buy some merch. Just buy some merch.
The merchandise is fucking awesome. I got to be honest, man. I got my eye on the black t-shirt with the pink logo. I got my eye on that bad boy, man.
Yeah, that's a lush one. Yeah. I love that one.
Yeah, check out the merch, guys. So what's the website then? Because all this stuff, the info and the links and the merch store and everything is on the website. What's the URL for the site?
I believe. Oh my god, I have to check.
Do you know what?
I think it's running.
Normally, I would be more professional this and have it in front of me, but I'm having trouble with my internet this morning. So
no, it's runningpunks.com.
Sweet,
simple as that.
Nice and easy.
Yeah, find us on there and just join in. Just join in, and I don't know, like. Don't feel like you have to be an amazing runner. You just have to be a runner. That's all it is. You just have to be a runner, and you're a running punk.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, Matt, thank you so much for everything you're doing. I wish you all the best with everything coming forward. What an amazing thing to see become such a success that it has. And thanks so much for giving us your time today as well and speaking so openly and honestly about your journey and getting everybody excited about getting out there and hitting the road. You know what I mean? It's like, I wish you nothing but the best.
Thanks.
And I hope I'll see you out there one day, dude, you know?
Yeah, definitely. You're not too far from me. So, yeah, we should go for a run or something.
Definitely. I'd love to do that, man.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Yeah. Okay, yeah. I'll take you up on that.
There we go. You heard it here first, folks. I'll be making excuses now for the next 3 weeks. Jimmy Watkins from Running Punks. Thanks so much, man. We'll see you again soon.
Nice one. Catch you soon. Bye.
What a super nice guy, man. I enjoyed that. It was a lot of fun. You know, it's amazing that we've never met before, given that we both live in the same kind of area and, you know, mingle in the same sort of circles. But before I pressed record, Jimmy mentioned that he used to come and watch my band Kaishira when we were performing locally. So it's possible that we have actually met at some point, but it would have been in both of our previous lives, you know. But Running Punks, I fucking love that idea, man. What a great, such a simple, brilliant idea. And it's so awesome that it's taken off and become such a success that it has. And I'm glad that success has come to someone like Jimmy, who just seems like such a genuine, you know, funny, nice guy, you know? So I hope you enjoyed that. There was a lot of good stuff in there. You know, Jimmy was very open and honest about his sobriety and his previous struggles. And I think it's really important that men have those conversations and they're open and honest about that. You know, this idea of toxic masculinity, or a man has to be a man and can't admit to having any flaws or anything. I think it's really healthy that people like Jimmy come out and speak so openly about those things. And I hope it's inspired you to hit the tarmac as well and get in touch with the Running Punks. I mean, there may be a group near you that's doing a similar thing. And if you're in South Wales, they do a Cardiff one, like Jimmy mentioned. But also do check out the YouTube channel where he does his album reviews because they are fucking hilarious. They're brilliant, honestly. I'm going to see if I can rope him into doing one on my album and see what bizarre adjectives he's going to use for that thing. But check out their website at runningpunks.com. Links to everything else and all their socials is on there, as well as their merch, because like we were just saying, the merch is super sexy. Honestly, I'm going to go and buy myself a t-shirt right away. Follow them on their socials, and Jimmy just said you can get in touch as well, so drop the guys a line, and just get involved, man. Get involved. Honestly, if you're not already a runner, getting involved in something like this will change every aspect of your life. I can't recommend it highly enough. So, with that said, I hope you enjoyed the episode. Before I go, I'm going to nag you one more time to subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Do share the episodes, spread the word, tell your friends to check them out as well. And leave a review or put a comment if you're listening to it on YouTube and get involved in the conversation. And if you could give me some stars, that would be awesome. All you got to do is click the goddamn star button, man. And then, Apple and Spotify will think, hey, people like this shit. And then they'll suggest it to other people. And then we can make a whole global community of running punks and we can give Jimmy that crown that he so clearly craves. Right, until next week, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and I shall see you same time, same place next Wednesday at 7 o'clock. Have a good one.